welcome to the Creatorcast, Season 2, Episode 26. With us, we have Sipho. Hi.
Everybody, I'm Siphonxasana. I'm a writer-director based in North Carolina, and I'm just excited to be here today. Thank you, Jade, for having me on. It's a pleasure to meet you and be able to have this conversation with you. For those watching, excuse my hair. I'm currently in the middle of dyeing it, so you guys get a little sneak peek behind the scenes into what's going to eventually be a blonde hairdo. So hope you guys are excited for that.
You're going blonde?
Yes, I am.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. Well, so yeah, this is kind of different from our usual kind of people we have on. We have a lot of Spidey cosplayers and everything. But, you've done a lot of Spidey fan films.
Indeed, I have. Yeah. For those who aren't familiar, I kind of tried to get my start back in 2022. I tried to make a film called The Enforcers. It ended up going so well, but 2023 I dropped sort of my debut with Spider-Man Morales, and this year actually I just released another short film, Spider-Man Morales No More. So I've had my time with Spidey for sure.
Awesome. Is that the only kind of thing you've done as Spidey projects, or have you?
I've dabbled a lot more in some original projects. My last short film was just a short film I made in a day after I got a new camera. So yeah,
Those are the best.
It was a stressful but very fun 24 hours, I will say.
That's fair. I at one point within like the past 6 months, oh my gosh, it's been a while. I made a short film. It was like 6 minutes long.
Oh?
But I made it in a night alone because I want to be a director, and I'm currently writing a series. And
okay, what's the series about?
It's a Spider-Man series.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, it's
Is
Spider-Man.
it like Miles?
What's that?
Was it Miles, Peter? Sorry if I cut you off.
No, it's totally okay. It's Ben Riley and Peter. And then yeah, it's an 8-episode series. Each episode about half an hour. So
okay, so, what's up? I hope to see it.
Me too. We'll see how it goes. But I just know that's a lot of writing.
Yeah, you know.
But yeah, I've been really impressed by your work because I kind of looked at your page and I didn't see a lot of stuff before Spider-Man Morales. Like, by a lot, I mean like barely anything.
Yeah, no, I took a lot of time with that. I just put everything off to the side as far as other projects and like tunnel vision.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
I've seen a lot of people and heard a lot of advice from others that it's kind of like, don't make your first project be like your dream project. It kind of seems like that's kind of what you did. I'm not sure.
Yes and no. I will say the Spider-Man Morales that came out to the world last May was not the intended Spider-Man Morales. I could do an entire deep dive into everything that had changed so last minute, partially on me, but also partially just because time was really not on my side. Making a project of that scale and that stature while you're 16 and a junior in high school, we've got so many other responsibilities. I'm working a part-time job, and then I got school, and then I got another project. It's like juggling those three, definitely can be a bit strenuous. So I did have to make a few sacrifices, I will say, and a lot of changes that really I didn't expect, but it is what it is.
I love that. I love the mentality of that. But I mean, it still turned out amazing, even if it's not what it's meant to be.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm very proud of it to this day. I have my little nitpicks. We all are our own worst critics, but I think overall it was a net positive. I'm glad I did it, and I'm just very proud of it to this day. It was a very meaningful project, and I'm very glad I was able to do it.
That's really amazing. So, I do want to ask you kind of about the thing. What happened with Morales No More?
That project, oof, man, where do I begin? Honestly, I think I have like a note on my phone because I was gonna make a video like doing a deep dive. This is sort of like an educational thing.
Yeah.
I think I have a note like on my phone. It's going super, 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 super deep into like all the project and whatnot. I'm pulling that up right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, all right, I have it right here. So first and foremost, what went wrong is the fact that it was never intended to be a Morales sequel. I'll come out and say that now. It was supposed to kind of be just like a reboot entirely, but really motivated me to kind of make a Morales sequel in the first place was the 2 weeks before I had begun working on Morales No More, or technically Spider-Man Date Night is what came out first, but 2 weeks before I sort of jumped back into Spider-Man, a teacher of mine, she had unfortunately passed away those few weeks prior. So, and this teacher and I were very close, and she was very much a avid supporter of me making Morales, and she was bummed out when I kind of told her I was planning on stepping away from it. I think it was around November of last year. So she was very upset. So as a personal death to me, and I was already jumping back into making Spider-Man stuff. So I figured, why not try and go take a stab at finishing off that original story with as Morales went, since the film does really end on sort of like an open ending. There's a lot more there definitely was a lot more left to be explored that just didn't. So I really wanted to just go back in there and finish what was left off, as a way to honor, commemorate the memory of someone that meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, I feel like a lot of that kind of got shifted into sort of like ego, because I'm making a sequel to this project that meant a lot to me, and I held myself with so much high expectations when making that project, as well as just hearing about how much this project had. I really don't want to pat myself on the back or boost my own ego when I say this, but hearing about how people had been interested in my work, and how people had been interested in seeing what I was doing as a creative after that project compares to where before I felt like I was more of an underdog, actually coming in. I definitely kind of put a lot of pressure on myself to up the ante, make if Morales was something crazy, then I got to go something crazier.
I get that.
And a lot of that ambition just didn't really come into fruition how I expected it to. For starters, as everybody already knows, I did not come back as Miles in this go around. I stepped away, and it was because I wanted to lock in more on being I've really wanted to more recently just kind of step back and start getting more back into being a director more than as an actor. Sort of really fine tuning my craft as that goes. But a lot of choices on that project were made that I don't think were the best choice to be made. And even outside of that, just a lot of things went wrong. That cast and I, most of them and I, we're not really on speaking terms. The lead and I were not on really good terms at all. So it's a lot. It's definitely a lot I could get into as far as that goes. But I harbor no hard feelings towards anybody involved. I may strongly dislike the project, but at the end of the day, it's your art. You just look back at it and you gotta keep pushing forward.
Yeah. So, I totally get that. I am going into my film and my projects and everything. A lot of the projects I have in mind, I'm one of the lead roles for. But I totally understand how that could affect you kind of as the director, because you're also in it. So with Morales No More, was it something that you and the cast were on good terms during filming?
For a majority of filming, or at least halfway, actually. I would say halfway of filming, or if not a majority, we were on good terms. The lead actor and I, we had a bit of a scuffle midway through production where he just dropped out. And he it was an argument that kind of got escalated beyond where it needed to be, and it led to him wanting to quit the project. So he just told me, finish it off without me. And I was like, okay. And so, the next day we ended up kind of just originally I was going to recast him after he said, he was quitting. But by that time I'd already released the first teaser trailer. And I was like, do I really want to go through the process of having to recast and, go through refilming and whatnot? and especially considering the lead, he doesn't live where I'm from. He lives an hour away, so he'd already driven an hour, committed his time to the project. I wouldn't feel good with myself if I recasted him, so I did end up bringing him back on. And then a few weeks later, there's a scuffle between two actors, which that's their personal business. I'm not going to get into. I'm just speaking off of what my experience with the project. That's their business. If I'm not one to delve into that. But no, there's another scuffle then, and by that point, I had already had so much going on in my personal life, whereas just like by that time I was kind of just but yeah, no, it kind of it was more of like a slow burn. As time went on, the cast and I weren't really on good terms.
Yeah. Well, okay, and let me ask, like, I totally get that and everything, but like, you're going to your college orientation soon, right?
Yes, very soon.
So, I assume you're wrapping filming like midway through your senior year, right?
Yes, I was in the second semester of my senior year, like maybe March, April-ish.
So not only did you have like all the scuffles and everything like you were talking about among cast, but you also had your high school life wrapping up. So that's a lot of stuff all at once.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
It was a process. I mean, as we all know, I did eventually step down from making the project just because like I couldn't do it. I had so much going on in my life between school and a lot of personal stuff going on, and this project working. I was just like too much to juggle. If I was going to throw one off to the wayside, it was going to be making that project. So I ended up kind of just stepping. That's what really led me to stepping down. It was just like things weren't really going how I'd hoped so. And the passion that I had felt for the project at the beginning just wasn't there anymore. Like I did not feel that spark. So that's what led me to sort of just take a step down. I was like, it's wrong for me to continue to make something, even though I don't want to. Because at the end of the day, not only will it be visible to me, but those who watch it will know. And even after releasing that project for the limited time it was, available, it was still noticeable. There are a lot of people who could openly like talk to me and said that it just didn't have that same like I guess you'd say that same energy as the first Mirage. And as a director, it's a bit disappointing and saddening to hear that, because you want all your films to really be of the same, at least of the same quality. You want to improve, but you want people to feel the same way towards all your art. You want your art to just harbor in the best energy. And just discussing this, and talking about this project with other people and hearing how much, they just didn't feel that. I think that was probably the hardest part for me, as far as this project goes.
I get that, especially because like you want to be able to, your next project, the one that's building off, to grow in quality. You want, like you said, you want to be crazier than the crazy that was before.
Yeah, and exactly.
If your previous project is something people will always compare it to, and it's, in your opinion, like it's better, it's hard to... I get that. So
yeah.
So I do want to ask, so you keep saying you stepped down. Did somebody else pick it back up, or is that just where it ended?
That is exactly where it ended. I stepped down. I let all the cast know. I called them. I was like, hey, I appreciate you for committing your time to this project. It will not go unnoticed. That's why I decided to continue and just release the film, because I didn't want their work to go unnoticed. But after I stepped down, that was the end of it. I truly was like, that was it. I didn't feel that same spark, so I didn't trust anybody to continue that story other than me, which is no disrespect to any of the creatives I know, but I just didn't trust anybody to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it ended right as soon as I stepped down. It ended with me.
All right. And that's that's actually insane, because I remember you were posting like the kind of responses you were getting to it. You would like share like the screenshots from your chats and everything, and people just hating on it. Did you get a lot of hate from it?
Well, to be honest, the hate doesn't really faze me. It's been like a running thing with like my follower base, I guess you could say, where they'll just hate on me for anything. So that it was from Morales No More. There's a lot more sort of like actual hate than it was just joking hate. But even then, yeah, no, it was interesting to say the least. You know, seeing how people reacted to this rather than the last one. Like I remember, like my phone, I can almost vividly remember when the first Miles dropped. My phone was blowing up, message after message after message after message. So everybody was like, it felt like everybody was like, watching in, tuning in, supporting it. And then Mirage No More comes out, a year later, and it just kind of came and went. So I found that very like, I definitely took note of that. Something like it was very much a humbling experience to see like no matter what I make or no matter what I make my people, the people who want to view my art have expectations. So very much kind of gave me that to think about as well, as far as any big projects or any just projects in general that I'm working on, having the idea of expectations.
That's good. I definitely managing my expectations is something that I've heard a lot of people say, because
Yeah.
if you're expecting all this greatness and everything, and then you don't live up to that, it can be like brutal.
Yeah. It was more brutal just on the idea of that people could tell that it just didn't have that same like sort of spark as before. Like it was there, but as the project went on, it slowly started to fade. So it was that was just noticeable to people around. So is what it is.
So I feel like with that experience and everything, and with how you've described it, that could be very discouraging.
Yeah, it was something, but like it was, you live and you learn. It was the best I can describe it is just like I had to sit on it for 2 months. I just didn't work on anything for a few months because it was like I was like that just ended up being a wet fart of a project. So I just kind of focused on my personal life and just getting that stuff straight, and building off of where I felt like I need to continue on. Because for a while I thought, like even before Mirage No More and during the production of Mirage No More, I thought about just stepping away from filmmaking entirely. So it was like when all that stuff was happening and like that project didn't come into fruition the way I wanted it to. It took a lot of I definitely thought on it for a while. Definitely thought on it for a while. So yeah, no. Yeah, it was discouraging for a little bit, but once, I kind of just sat on it and like just took some time to myself, that's when I kind of like realized, we all have a dud eventually. Things, expectations and whatnot, we sometimes just don't meet up to them, and that's okay. There's not much we can do about it.
And so with that, I take it you're back. You're like, you want to keep filmmaking and everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've got so much stuff that I've been just like cooking up on. I was just helping out a really talented group of filmmakers, Real Decor. If they're watching this, I love y'all so much. Keep doing what y'all do. Hypnagogia Sweep. Yeah, no, I was on set with them, met a lot of cool people. Just got to really be in the element, and even now on my personal stuff, like my projects, got a lot of cool stuff coming up. A lot of original stuff. I don't really see myself jumping back into fan films or just superhero stuff for a while, just because I really need to branch out outside of that. But I'm definitely getting the gears grinding as far as creating stuff.
That's amazing. I'm super glad to hear it.
Thank you. Yeah, no. I'm very excited. I was working with as well a boy, Alec Carpenter. If he's watching this too, what I'm saying? Love you, bro. Working on Red with him was really fun. We co-directed that, and it was just a very good time. It was the most experimental project I'd done as far as just like editing goes, because it was an action short film, and I'd never done anything like that before outside of the one fight scene in Mirage No More. So working on that with him and really just kind of like picking his brain out, and just like you're always watching how other people direct and seeing what works for you, and sort of like just watching them as they do their craft. It's always a blessing. It's just always really nice to see.
So with your so you're wanting to branch out more, are there any other projects you could possibly share with us that you have coming up, or are they staying?
I'll hint at this. One project it's a comedy, and it is the most. It's from everything I've made. It's left field. It's completely left field. It is nothing like I've ever made before. So it's a comedy, and it's absolutely just. It's nothing. It's like nothing I've ever made before. Those are the two best things I can give you as far as what it is.
That's one of the best things, I feel like. Whenever you have a director that just like can throw something at you from left field in correspondence to their work, it's just perfect.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for the project. I've always wanted to dabble in comedy. It's one of my favorite genres, and yeah, project's coming together well. I'm looking forward for everybody to see it.
I'm super psyched, and I'm sure the audience is as well. Um, I do also want to ask. Okay, so when I was trying to reach out to you for this, I was a little confused because there was your Instagram account, but then there was also the was it the Cherry Studios?
Yeah, Cherry Street.
Yeah. So is what is it? What is that?
Cherry Street is my idea for Cherry Street is just it's not I would I try I've been less and less trying to label it as like a studio and just more of like a group or like a collective of just a bunch of amateur filmmakers just creating cool stuff, man. I've got some buddies up in Pittsburgh I was able to recruit, so they're cooking up some really cool stuff over there. And I got, of course, me down in North Carolina. Excuse me, and I got my other creative friends. Like, my idea for Cherry Street was just to harbor creativity of all sorts. Right now we're making films, but we have a lot of ideas that we want to do later on in the future, and we hope, God willing, that a lot of what we want to do is it's able to grow. I just want, that's the best thing I can say. Cherry Street, I want it to grow. I need to start using that account more for sure, because every time a project comes out, I only promote it on my main. It's a really bad habit, but
I get it.
yeah, no, I definitely want to start. Yeah, stress. I need to start using that account more, but yeah, no. Other than that, it's a nice little something I've had going on that I'm really excited to further pursue as time goes on.
That's awesome. And so you also have the Cherry Street YouTube channel, right? I think that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's like my personal. That's more of my personal YouTube channel.
Okay.
I would say.
So where do all the films get listed? Do they all get listed to the Cherry Street YouTube channel?
Yeah, every single film that I've made, is always gonna have that sort of Cherry Street stamp on it.
All right, that's cool.
Thank you.
I know. For me, I started with just an overall company. So we have Creators Inc. And then the lower levels, we have like Creators Entertainment, which is the podcast, the films. I'm really dark right now. This is not normal. Usually,
No way.
we have, it's like just super bright and like, because the sun, I always record midday. But
Yeah, no worries.
there. Okay. But I do also want to see, like, you've done a lot in a very short period of time. Like you said, you started this 16 in your junior year.
Around there, I think I started a little early. I'm trying to think. When did I actually start filmmaking? Like shooting stuff. 14. I think I was 14 when I started.
That's
like I'm thinking early back when I. Thank you. I'm thinking back when I was doing like stuff on my iPhone. I was around 14. So yeah, it wasn't when I'd say really I started taking it seriously though, like or trying to do it really seriously when I was 15.
It's impressive. I've seen, like, there are a lot of films and everything, like even the MCU and some other things that like they get a lot of elements of Spider-Man, right? And even, but sorry, my mind just blanked. But like other fan films and stuff, they get certain parts right, and they'll have like a crazy high budget. But then there's some fan films that are lower that get the Miles Morales character right, or get a Peter Parker right, or a 2099, and it's incredible to see that the fans can do so well.
Yeah.
I love seeing it.
That's really why I didn't want Morales no more to have huge budgets. I've always like and fan films in general, nothing against the higher budget fan films, of course, you do you. It's your project. I'm not one to tell you how to make your project. I feel as if the financial restrictions of sorts, or just restrictions in general on any project, it really leads you to really be creative with how you create that, how you tell that story.
Yeah.
Like with Morales, my ideal Morales, if I were to ever get like a multi-million-dollar deal, it would be a totally different project. Well, not totally. It would be more of a blockbuster than anything.
Yeah.
But I made Morales on a budget of like $2,000, and that was all of my money that was spent. And so it was like, taking that into consideration, I just decided to make Morales the most like, I just wanted to make it kind of like an independent like crime drama kind of thing. It was very much dirty. It was supposed to be like dirty. I wanted to utilize, very grounded. I wanted to kind of like utilize the very much the low kind of budget that I had going on with that project.
I love that. I think that's one thing that like fan films kind of have a unique look, and it works.
Yeah.
And like I started a Kickstarter for my series because like 8 episodes is a lot.
It is, yeah. It's a lot of bread.
But like I'm writing, I already have casted like 3 characters, and they're close people, and they already said I don't have to pay them, so that's a plus. But it's like the goal that it recommended for whatever I suggested was like $3,000, and I'm like, hey, you know what? It's worth a try. We'll throw a couple of CG shots in there. But
just because, you never know. You really never know.
Yeah. And I think I would rather have a little bit more money than I need, that then I could put into like advertising and stuff like that, than have not enough money to complete my vision.
I feel that. That makes complete sense. That makes sense.
And it's so you're moving away from superheroes and stuff, which I think is the right move. Not anything against any of your work or anybody else's work about superheroes or anything. I know for me, everything I've done so far has been Spider-Man or superhero related.
I apologize. I just responded to a text from my father. I'm sorry.
Totally okay.
Alrighty.
But just that kind of like getting out of that bubble, I feel like, is always just a really good thing to do.
That's really what I'm looking forward to doing. Just being able to branch out a lot more, and really just kind of because I was really only known as a Spider-Man filmmaker, which I love Spider-Man. I absolutely love him, but I'm a director outside of him, and I'm very much excited to actually be known for my art rather than the art that I'm creating through the work of someone else.
Like I'd rather, like you were just saying, I'd rather be known for my original work than my art based off of somebody else's.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just announced a series that I'm going to be starting up soon. Nothing to do with Spidey, and it has very little to do with sci-fi stuff, except for the entire show. But it's a whole thing. But I'm very excited to see what you have to do next.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm excited to see what you're doing, because we do follow each other on Instagram. I recall I followed you back immediately. And I've been seeing like a lot of what you've been doing. I really do enjoy it. I really do enjoy it.
Thank you. I found my Instagrams have gotten like crisscrossed because I have my personal account where I do like cosplay and everything, and then I have my professional account, and I started posting so much stuff on like the stories of the professional one that
it kind of just like I got caught in the crossfire.
But no, I'm really wanting to switch this thing up, the podcast, because we've only had cosplayers on here. I love cosplaying Spidey. It's my favorite. But at the same time, like, I want to branch out. Because being a director, actor, writer, I don't know. It's a whole thing. I'm really bad at this. Can you tell?
No way. You're not bad at all. It's cool.
But I get to a point in each episode where it's kind of like I'll just get like awkward to a point and then kind of just snap out of it and be awkward in a different way.
Oh, okay. Well, trust me, I understand. Believe me, in certain social situations, I'll lock in, and then I won't lock in, and then so. Like I'll immediately go from being the most social guy in the room. And 5 seconds later, I'm just sitting by myself in a random just by myself on my phone.
Dude,
So I believe me. Exactly. Yeah. No judgment here. Trust me.
Well, okay. So what's outside of film? Like outside of film and your fan films and everything. What do you do?
I am a manager at a shoe store, so that's nice. Stacking up my money, and I'm going to school. I start school next Monday. I'm going to college. It's great. I'm a simple guy. I just like hanging out with my friends. Like I said before, after this, I'm gonna hang out with some guys. So as soon as I'm done getting taken care of this, that is. But yeah, no. I think I'm a pretty simple guy. I just chill. What about you?
I'd like to say same, but I can't really hold a friendship for more than a year. So that's the goal for this year, to change that.
I hear you. Well, I mean, hey, I understand though. I can see where we would both kind of be glass half full kind of guys and gals. So
Yeah, but it's all about improving, and you gotta find people who like what you like.
Yeah, just naturally gravitate to.
Exactly. But
Indeed.
that's great. What are you majoring in?
Media studies. So pretty much, what I'm already doing, just going to school for it, so I can further, study it.
Do you have like a career goal? Like, do you want to be picked up by like a studio and become a big time director?
That's the plan. That's the dream. But you always gotta have contingencies for contingencies. Like right now, I like where I'm at. Just creating films and just getting money on the side. So, it's just. I think that the simple life is always gonna be cool for me.
That's fair. Have you made any money from your films?
A little bit, nothing too crazy. I get like $350 because I just got into a film festival. So that was once, and it was nice. It was a nice little extra change in the piggy bank, I guess.
Oh, I've been thinking about that, like, because, going into it, I'm kind of thinking, like, I can't make any money off of the things I make, or I work on, just because it's Spider-Man. It's...
Yeah. I really only got the money just because it was like, it wasn't that I was profiting off it, but it was just more like, a reward for it, I guess, the best way I could put it.
Yeah, so...
So, like...
Sorry, I just wanted to ask, so the film festival,
Yeah.
You guys won? Or did you win? Or...
Yeah, when I won Best Direction.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So that's, like, kind of a big thing. You, how do you feel about that one of your projects got voted the best?
Boosted my ego by a ton for a good few months. I'm not gonna lie to you. After humbling myself for a little bit, it still hits all the same. I guess I could say it always kind of surprises me. I'm just very grateful that I was able to do it, and it was a film that I did with people that I really like, and I just I care about. I had such a bond with that crew and that cast. Like we had a lot of fun making that project, even though a lot of things just didn't happen the way they're supposed to. We had a lot of fun making that project, and it was nice. It was very nice.
And was that the first Morales one?
Yes.
That's great. I'm sorry. I know you already answered this, but I'm just curious still. Why didn't you return? Like, I know taking a step back for direction and everything.
As Miles?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have the same grit to play Miles. At least not right now. I didn't feel like I could just hop back into the role. Like once I stepped away, it was like I just didn't feel like, I feel like right now my calling is really just sticking behind the camera. that's really where I feel like I need to be. So that's where I'm sticking. I just didn't feel like, I just didn't really feel like I could come back as Miles right now.
That's reasonable. But okay, let's also get kind of into the more fun side of it.
Yeah, all right.
Has there been any like really awesome moment on set that you've really enjoyed that I don't know stands out to you?
I'm trying to think. A good moment on set. Trying to think. What would be a great moment? I don't know. There are a good few moments I had on set. I think okay. This is behind the scenes story from Rallis. The tombstone scene in the film, the one where he's walking around the city, completely improvised. That was not a written scene. That was not a scene that. And if you must know, Tombstone originally wasn't even going to be in Morales. He was not at all supposed to make an appearance. Originally we had Morbius, but things just fell through with that. And my second option originally was Tombstone, so we brought Tombstone in. And the scene we shot was completely improvised with me and the actor on the spot. We just, I had my camera rolling. I would tell him where to walk. He would walk. I told him just to say one thing, and he said it. And we wrapped and we went home. And I think it was really fun just because I really got to work with the actors, or the actor that day on like how the scene should come out, since it was both of us kind of playing with each other's ideas and whatnot, and rolling, our ideas going back and forth.
That sounds amazing.
It was really nice, yeah.
It's those kind of things that make me just super psyched to actually get into filmmaking.
Yeah, no, it's really sweet, very sweet indeed.
I'm excited to work with a crew. Is there kind of anything you could give to new filmmakers, a piece of advice that could benefit them in the future?
Piece of advice for me. Okay. I don't know. What's the best advice I could give? What's the best advice I'd give it to anybody who want to get it? I think the best advice I could give to any filmmakers that are possibly watching this, I want to get into it. Just go for it. Don't, I've seen a lot of filmmakers, even myself included, when I was 14 or younger. I wanted to make the craziest, most awesome, I just wanted to make something that was, absolutely just, insane. I wanted to make something that was beyond what I was capable of. I'm gonna sound like such a douche when I say this, but don't do it. Just don't go for that. Go for, make a 5-minute short film with your friends where it's just y'all, no script. You're filming on an iPhone. Start with what you know, and then build up to what you can. You never want to make a project about something or work on a project that you're knowledgeable about. It's no fun. So I think that it would just be best, if any new filmmakers walking this, don't try to go into the big stuff. Build your way up. You got to walk before you can run. That's the best advice I feel I can give, because I think that's just the best advice that I think that's just something that really applies to me as well in my journey.
I mean, that's super reasonable. Like, you don't want to go into a Spidey show or something. It's your first thing, and have Venom be the villain, have full alien looking everything. It would just be so difficult.
I remember my first ever script that I wanted to make. It was an 136-page Spider-Man script. I was 13 when I wrote it, and I wanted to make it that summer. I mean, you can imagine my disappointment when it just didn't end up happening, but, there was no way it would have happened.
How long was it expected to be?
Around 2.5 hours, I think. It was bloated. It was a very bloated script. So much of that just didn't need to be there. It was an interesting project.
One sec.
No worries.
It's raining outside.
Yes.
But for me, I just finished the script for the first episode of my show, and it's 18 pages, and it's supposed to be half an hour long. And a lot of people, like everybody who's reviewed the script so far, has said that was a lot to fit into 30 minutes. And so I'm like, I could not imagine 140, 130?
136, yeah.
Yeah. Oof. Into like 2.5 hours. I think that would kill me.
It was a lot. It was a lot of nothing. That's the best way I can describe that script. A lot of nothing.
That's fair. And was that a Miles story?
It was my first ever attempt at making a Miles story, or like writing a Miles story.
Do you think that's something you'd ever possibly want to revisit that script, go back to it, rewrite it?
I kind of already did with Morales. I can't lie. Like a few ideas that I had in that script were implemented into Morales, but like the idea as a whole, that script it was insane. It was like the first act involved, it was about Peter, and then the rest of the movie was about Miles. It kind of just it took place. We followed Peter, as leading up to his death, and then we saw Miles. Well, of course, it was Miles' film, so we followed Miles. But first act really showed a lot of Peter before his death, and after he dies in the first act, damn, that's when we switch over to Miles for a little bit.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I really do need to kind of like go through and rewatch your work, because I remember when I did watch it, it was really good, but I haven't watched it in a
Thank
while.
you. No worries. I haven't watched it in a long time myself, so.
How is that for you? Because I know for a lot of filmmakers and just for a lot of people who make any sort of videos in general, it's really hard going back and watching their own work.
It depends. I rewatched my most recent short on that channel, Forest Lands, like 2 weeks ago. It was fine. I'm very hypercritical. Like I don't have a bad time watching my work. I'm just very hypercritical of it. Like I'm like, okay, I feel like here's where I could have maybe done this shot a little differently. But nothing really outweighs sort of like how I feel like about just being proud of that project in general.
That's fair. So, are you saying you value kind of like the experience more so than the actual product?
In a sense, yes. I always want to make sure the product is just it's as good as it can be. But nothing really beats more than just working on stuff with people I really enjoy working with and care about.
I respect that. That's awesome. I really appreciate your stance on filmmaking a lot more than some other filmmakers I've talked to, because I've talked to one or two others that just kind of got under my skin with the way they've talked about not just the filmmaking in general, but also just the characters and everything. Because I feel like there's a lot of people who this is a tiny Spider-Man rant just for me real quick, but that's there are a lot of people who
go ahead, dude.
a lot of people who just want to make the character what they think it should be and not what it is.
It is. Yeah.
And it's kind of difficult for that, because you also want to harbor kind of like everybody's going to have their own vision. Everybody is going to have their own take on each character and everything. But I don't know. There's certain ones that bother me because I feel like they're just disrespectful to the character.
I hear you. I hear you 100%.
And then, so, once again, I'm sorry, I've kind of gotten into some rants this thing.
No worries.
But, so for me, there's a couple people I've talked to that I feel like keep kind of trying to force their ideas of what my show should be onto me. And I don't want to do that. Do you have any advice for me with those people?
It's your project. Either, pardon my French, it's your project. Either they come to you differently, approach it respectfully, or they can fuck off. I don't care. Your art is your art. Anybody tries to force what they want out of your art onto you, they're immediately not for the cause. They're not for your project. You can tell them, come at a different way, reapproach me, or they can go. I don't stand for that. I never have stand for that. I never have stood for that, and I never will stand for that. For one, it's just disrespectful. For two, it's why you have nothing to gain from it. It's your art. It's your way of expressing yourself. So, I would say it's really just about putting your foot down. You can't let people bogart you with your project, with your art. Something I've definitely learned as these past few years went on.
I appreciate that tons, and I'm sure any other filmmakers watching will appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's something I definitely can understand, because if you're working with people you're friends with, or you care about, whatever the case may be, you want them to feel, you want them to have a voice, but they also have to know that, you're the director. If you're the director, it's your vision,
You're the director.
It's what you want out of this project. Yeah.
I love that. All right. Thank you so much. And
of course,
I do want to say, since we're about almost over. Thank you so much, Sipho, for coming on. This was a really great experience with our first director.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
We just have a few wrapping up questions, and
Of course.
then we have a cosplay of the week at the end. So,
All right.
so A, what do you think will happen to the character of Spider-Man 2099 when the year of 2099 rolls around?
That's an interesting one. I don't know. I guess. I mean, shit. The nigga might exist by then. I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know how to answer that. Really.
I've often wondered. I'm like, are they going to turn him into 3099 or something? I don't know.
Are they gonna keep it together? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah, I'm curious now.
Alrighty, and then I have to think about what questions we have. Alright. And then final question, what is your favorite restaurant?
My favorite restaurant? I don't have a favorite restaurant exactly, just anything that has some good hibachi.
Ooh, okay.
I like a lot of hibachi. I do enjoy some good hibachi.
I don't think I can remember the last time I've had hibachi. Not sure though.
Hey, let's get some tonight, man. Let's get some. Everybody needs to eat some hibachi. It's good for you.
Alright. Sipho, thank you so much for coming on. It has been great having you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great. I've enjoyed it. I can't wait to see anybody else who joins this podcast. It was great. I loved it.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
And to the audience, thank you everybody for watching. The cosplay of this week is Ryro Studios with the 2099. This one has been iconic for everybody that's so far been on the podcast. We've talked about it tons. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Check out the Kickstarter if you want to support any fan films or future fan films. It will be linked below. And yeah, check out Cherry Street, the Instagram and YouTube. Both will be linked below.
Thank you, man. Check us out. We do cool stuff.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Sipho, once again, thank you so much for coming on. And everybody, have a great day.